In this course of our learning, we're going to start Tes Zayin towards the bottom. It's 2 dots, the big sugya here. It's 8 lines from the bottom. I'm Rabbi Yechanan. Tes Zayin Amid Aleph. I'm Rabbi Yechanan, B'amashal Shisha Tvachim Haya Ora Nasi. Ma'antana B'amashal Shisha Tvachim Rabbi Meir. The Tanan Rabbi Meir Mikol Amasei B'beinis Rabbi Dam Amasa Binin Shal Shisha Shal Kelim Chamisha. There's a machlekes how big the amma was, the one that was used for building the utensils. In other words, there's different types of amma of a stick, of the measuring stick. There's an amma of 5 tvachim that was used for the foundation of the mizbeach and also for the horn of the mizbeach. Then there's an amma of 6 tvachim. And then there's an amma that's slightly larger than 6 tvachim. So Reb Meir says that the one that was used for the aron was an amma of 6 tvachim. It was the standard. It was the beininus, the standard amma. Rabbi Yehuda says no. Rabbi Yehuda says no. The amma for the aron was the 5 tvachim one, which comes out that how many tvachim was the aron is going to be a difference between Reb Meir and Rabbi Yehuda. Yeah, in Masechta Sukkah, they're looking for the height of the aron. Over here, we're looking for the length and width of the aron. Yeah, well, if it's 5 tvachim or 6 tvachim. That would be different to the length. No, the length and width is going to be the same. But here we're looking for how to get the luchais into the luchas in the Sefer Torah, like Guess was mentioning, into the aron. Is there enough room in there for it? And in Masechta Sukkah, we're looking for the height to see the kapayrus, to see the shechina, where the shechina comes down and all of that. The height of a sukkah. Okay, so it goes like this. Al daite b'Rab Meir du amar. The word "du" means who. Apparently, or it's according to Reb Meir that says that the aron was made with an amma of 6 tvachim. The length of the aron would be 15 tvachim. Why? Well, the Ksiv Amasayim b'chetzi arke says that it's 2.5 ammas. Well, amsa ashita, 1 amma is 6, but it's Amasayim, it's 2. So Amsa Ashita, and the other Amma is 6. That's a total of 12. The Palgas Amsa, now half an Amma, is 3. That's a total of 15. So we're looking at the length of the aron is 15 tvachim. All right. So far it doesn't tell me anything. Now there's 4 luchas. Yeah. Ramesh is pointing out that there was another opinion that had said that there was a separate aron. This would be following the opinion that there's only 1 aron. There's 4 luchas. Each of the luchas was two tablets, right? So it was in 2 sets of the 2 tablets. So 2 of them were whole and 2 were broken. It says that as you wrote on the luchas, you should write on the second luchas as you wrote on the first ones that you broke and place them in the aron. So it says, that you broke and place them in the aron. The Gemara puts it together. That means that the broken ones are also in the aron. So, you have Vav Tvachim? I'm missing a word. My Gemara, it's. I see the residue of a letter. Vav Tvachim. Okay. The length of the luchas was 6 tvachim. Now I'm going to read it according to the Gra. Rachvai Shleisha. But its width was only 3. Now, b'ten arkan shaluchas la'arkai shel aray nishtay sham shleisha tvachim. What I do is I do 3, 3, 3, 3. It's going to give me 12. It's 3 and 3 is 6. Right? 6, 9, 12. Yeah. So I have the aron, the length of the aron and then I have the length of the luchas going to the width of the aron, and I spread it out like that, so it's basically 6 plus 6, or 3, 3, 3, 3, and then I'm up to 12. So how much is left over? 3 tvachim. I have 3 tvachim left to wiggle room in there. However, what about the thickness of the wall? Because the measuring of the aron was not measured from the inside, it was measured from the outside. Measured from the outside means that I have to take away the thickness of the wall. So the thickness of the wall was a half a tefa. So I had 3 tvachim left over. Minus 1, I have 2 tvachim left over. What did I do in those 2 tvachim? I put the Sefer Torah in to the length. So 2 tvachim by 6. It was like a long Sefer Torah. It's like those old Nach, the Nevi'im. Remember in Rhode Island, one shul had a set of Nevi'im. It's you've seen them. They're like long and thin. So Rachvei Shel Arayin Tisha Tvachim. Now we go to the width. The width of the aron was 9 tvachim. Where did you get that from? Well, the Ksiv Amma B'Chetzi Rachvei. It says that it's an Amma and a half. It's 2.5 by 1.5. The 2.5 we got was 15 tvachim. The 1.5 is going to be 9. This is probably the original Moshe. Yeah, there was an original Sefer Torah there. No. And was it ever used? Is the Rishonim discussed? Well, was it taken out ever to be used? The Mefarshim discuss it. I don't know if it's really Rishonim here. It doesn't tell us, but it could have been 6 tvachim. Yeah, it's a foot. It's a foot and a half. Okay. So Amma b'chetzi rachbai and Amsa Ashita. An Amma is 6 tvachim. Palgas Amsa Tlasa. Half an Amma is 3 tvachim. So 6 plus 3 is 9. So you have a space there of 9 tvachim. We didn't count the walls yet, but now we go through this. It's a little repetitive here. And there's 4 luchas there. Shnaim shvurim. 2 of them are whole and 2 are broken. We know that they're in there because they were broken. It says you should write on the new ones as you wrote on the old ones that you broke and place them in the aron. And the Gemara learns that you place the broken ones in the aron as well. It probably wants to say, according to the Gra, that the luchas were 6 tvachim by 3 tvachim. 10 rachban shel luchas l'rachban shel aron. It's probably supposed to be 10 arkan shel luchas l'rachban shel aron. Neshtayisham shleisha tvachim. It would go like this: if I have 6 tvachim in length and 9 tvachim in the aron, so I'm going to have 3 tvachim left over. Chatzi tefach mikan l'kaisel zeh, v'chatzi tefach mikan l'kaisel zeh. Yeah. And the movies, it was bigger? It sounds like it's about the size of this table here. Yeah. A little bit bigger than the size of the table by... Right. I don't know, like, yeah. Very disappointing. Yeah, Avram Nosson is saying that it's a little too small. He's a little disappointed. He thought it was much larger, at least from the movies. And how big does that make the movie? 6 tvachim by 6 tvachim. Well, 6 by 3 plus 3. So, but 6 by 6. We're not discussing the height. 6 by 3 by 3. Yeah. 6 by 6. They're both luchas together would be 6 by 6. So, what's going to be here is you have a chatzi tefach mikan l'kaisel zeh, chatzi tefach mikan l'kaisel zeh. I had 3 tvachim left over. I take a half a tefach for the thickness of the wall on both sides. So that's 1 tefach. I have 2 tvachim left over. Now, I have to be able to get my hands in. It sounds like I'm going to need to use the Sefer Torah. I'm going to need to be able to stick my hands in to get it out. I'm not going to use a suction cup to pull it up, right? So I'm going to need to get my hands in on the side. So those sides, I have a tefach on this side, a tefach on this side. I can get my hand in to take the Sefer Torah out. We didn't discuss, there actually is shiluk there because it's only 6 tvachim and you have an extra tefach on each side. But I guess what it's saying is maybe you need to get all your arms in or something to get it up. So the length of the length of the aron, I would put my arms in. It would be across the width. I'd put my arms in to take the Sefer Torah out. I don't know. I don't know if I really needed to take it out, but it sounds like I needed to take it out. Maybe they read from it or something. I don't know. We don't know of anything we don't have any sources that they would go in there and open the aron and take out the Sefer Torah. I don't know. It says Bitzalel in small there in the corner. Reb Shimon ben Lakish Amar Ba'ama Bas Chamisha Tvachim Haya Aron. Now we start over with the other opinion. That was Rabbi Yechanan's view, following Reb Meir, that the Aron, the Amma that was used to build it was 6 tvachim. However, Reb Shimon ben Lakish, his brother-in-law, says that it was only 5 tvachim. Well, who's the original opinion, the Tana opinion that says this? That would be Rabbi Yehuda. Rabbi Yehuda says that the Amma was 5 tvachim. The Tanin and Tamana was taught over there. Rabbi Yehuda Amma Sabinyan Shisha tvachim Shalakelem Chamisha. The aron that was used the Amma that was used to build the Kalim was smaller. So if it's only 5 tvachim, what's our total? Vahin aron kelihu, and the aron is a keli, it's the utensil. Al daiti the Rabbi Yehuda do amar b'ama shal chamisha tvachim me'arka yasoi shnei maser tefach u'mechza. Arka shal aron asoi shnei maser tefach u'mechza. That would mean that the length of the aron was 12 and a half. I was going to explain why. The ksiv, because it's written, amasayim v'chetzi arka, it's 2.5 amas. That's the case, then amsa chamisha v'amsa hey. Each amma is 5. 2.5 amas. So 5 plus 5 is 10. The palgas amsa and half an amma treyu palig, 2.5, which is 12.5. Now the luchas aren't going to switch their size. Dalad luchas ayubay. Shnayim shleim shvurim. There were 4 luchas, 2 were broken. The Gemara repeats this. It's supposed to be shleisha tvachim. Each of the luchas was 6 by 3, and there's 4 of them. 10 arkan shaluchas or rachban shaluchas l'arke shalaran. Yeah, that's how it is probably. Rachban shaluchas. You put the width of the luchas to the length of the aron. So it's 3, right? So then that's going to give me 12. I only have a half a tefach left over. Remember, the whole thing was only 12.5. So etzba l'kaisel mikan ve'etzba l'kaisel mikan, and I measured it from the outside. So a half a tefach, the tefach is 4 fingers. Half a tefach is 2 fingers. The thickness of the wall just turned into instead of being a half a tefach, is now into 1 finger. And I have 1 finger of the wall on this side, 1 finger of the thickness of the wall on the other side. It just shrunk the thickness of the wall. So Rachbay shel Aron Shiva. Now we go to the width of the Aron. That's only going to be Shiva Tvachim Umechta, 7.5. Iksiv Amma B'Chetzi Rachbay, because it says it's an Am and a half. So Amsa Chamisha, Palgas Amsa Trio Palik. The Amma is 5, and the half Amma is 2.5, which is 7.5. 5 plus 2.5. Vidala Luchas Ayubay, and there's 4 Luchas, Shnaim Shvurim. I don't know why it has to go through it again, but it does. Two are whole and two are broken. The ksiva sheshi bar to something bar, and then they're both in there. Their length is 6 tvachim. Their width supposed to be 3 tvachim. 10 rachban, 10 arkan l'rach b'shalaran, nishtayisham tefachim mechta. You put their length to the width of the aron. The length is 6 tvachim. The aron is 7.5. So I have what's left over is tefachim mechta, 1.5 tvachim left over. Remember the thickness of the wall, according to this opinion, was just an etzba. So etzba l'kaisel mikan, v'etzba l'kaisel mikan. So there goes my half a tefach. Now I have 1 tefach left. Chatzi tefach mikan, v'chatzi tefach mikan, l'shila. And I put a half a tefach on this side, half a tefach on that side, to be able to get my hands in, to be able to pull it up. How would you get your hands in half a tefach? Your hand is a tefach. You put the hand in sideways, not like this. At the end, multiple choice. I like it. That's right. Ketzad asa Betzalel asa aron. How did Betzalel make the aron? Maybe we're going to have 2 opinions here. Maybe that's going to tell me the thickness of the aron. We'll see. Because we had 2 opinions here, how thick the aron was, if it's half a tefach or a quarter of a tefach. Rabbi Chanina Amar, I don't know if it's Rabbi Gamliel the Graz, changing all the girsais here. In the Taklan Charatin, I believe the Gra had access to manuscripts. I think they say something like Alter Rebbe was afraid. There was one thing that he was afraid of the Gra, that he had access to manuscripts from Rome that the Alter Rebbe didn't have. He was afraid that he was going to quote in original versions of things. So I don't know. Yeah, the Gra was had a scientific approach of the thing. So, Shalish Teves Asu says like this. There were 3 boxes for the aron. Shtayim shel zav, achas shel eitz. Nothing shel zav b'shel eitz, b'shel eitz b'shel zav. What happened was, the two of the boxes of the aron were made out of gold, and it was like stackable. The outer one was a little bit wider. Then you had a box of wood that you put inside that, and then you had a box of gold that you put inside that, and it fit perfectly, like those Russian dolls. Right? You put it in, and it fit. And so the only thing that was exposed was the lip. That was wood exposed. You would see the gold until you put a covering over it. So it says like this: it's yipi when you covered it. You have to cover it with gold from inside and outside. So matal madlaimer titzapenu. So what does it mean that you cover it? It already said you cover it. Yeah, you have one more job to do, and that is to fill in the lip so that you don't have the wood exposed. It was pure gold, at least on all the surfaces. Reb Shimon ben Lakish Amar Teva Achas Asa. Maybe he wants that to be Reb Yochanan. Or maybe it's Rabbi Chanina. Reb Shimon ben Lakish says, or Reb Shimon ben Levi maybe, says that it was Teva Achas Asa v'tzipiyu. It was really one piece of gold, of wood, one piece of wood that was plated with gold. It wasn't a separate box of gold. The whole thing was, I don't know if they used some sort of paint, a roller or something, but there wasn't a separate box that was made outside of it. No, it was just plated in gold. The exhibits, if you say Zav Tarmi, buy some michutz. You have to plate it, cover it in gold. What does it mean that you cover it? You already said you cover it. You see, now I can't say that, I had to cover the lip also, because there's no difference, the lip and the rest of it. The whole thing was just plated. If it was a separate box, then it was a separate action, so fine. But If it's just plated, then what do you mean that you do the lip? You did the bottom also. So that extra word is coming to tell me that the wood were pieces of wood that were put together, however they make the pieces together. But there could have been, in between the pieces of wood, there could have been a little space, and you had to fill that space in with gold. How were the luchas written? Rabbi Hanania ben Gamliel loimer chamisha aluach zeh v'chamisha aluach zeh. This is how they are on the in all the pictures. 5 on this tablet and 5 on that tablet. Hadiksiv. Okay, we have to switch the psukim here according to the Gra. You write on the luchas the words of the covenant, the 10 things. Now it says you write the 10 things on the 2 luchas. That means 5 on each. As we go through this, I'll read the psukim according to the Gra, at least. Rabbanan Amri Asara Loachzer Asara Loachzer. The Rabbanan say that there were 10 on each. It means, so some say that what it means is 10 from Yisrael and the 10 from Beschama. Yeah, we always imagined. Right. Yeah, this would have been different to that guy, the 15 and the one.
I thought it was front and back.
That we'll see soon. We'll see soon. Here he's saying that there's 10 on each, right? So Moshe came down with 20 commandments, repetitive, right? 10 plus 10 plus another. No, he comes down with 20, he breaks them, comes down with another. The original version in that. So, Rabbana Samra Loasev Asar Loasev Adiksiv. Now we have to read this again with Vayagid Lechem Es Brisai Vayichtevim Al Shnei Luchas Avanim. And he wrote them on the 2 stones. Vayichtevim, he wrote them on each of the 2 stones. Asar Loasev Asar Loasev. Reb Shimon ben Yochai Yomer Esrim. There were actually 40, 20 on each tablet. Diksiv, now we'll read it like with the Gra. Ksuvim Mishnei Evrayim. This it's written Ksav Aluach Zeh, Ksav Aluach Zeh. Esrim Aluach Zeh, Esrim Aluach Zeh. Okay, this could be Chaim. This could be what that it was on each side. That if there were 10 on each tablet, and you could see it from both sides, that would be 20. That could be the pshat. If you want to learn it like that. Reb Simai Arbar Maluachsev, Arbar Maluachsev. Simai says no, it's actually 40 on each tablet. So he comes down with the 80 commandments. Yeah. Ksiv mizeh mizehim ksuvim. Tetraga. Tetraga. Yeah, that means from 4 sides. Tetraga. It means that it's on each side. So this could mean that it was written through, and that you're able, miraculously you're able to see it on. And I'll say that could be the pshat. It doesn't see. This you can do with computer imaging. Chananya ben Achi Rabbi Shuaimer ben Kol Diber v'Diber Diktukeh v'Yisiseh Shel Torah. Diksiv Mulam b'Tarshish. Yeah, I'm not sure what this means. What the words mean, I know, but it sounds like what it's saying is that there was commentary that was written in between the words in small. In small letters, interpolated. It says Memulim b'Tarshish. It's filled in with Tarshish. Tashish may be a type of stone. Kiyama Rabba, that means like the Great Sea. Reb Shimon ben Lakish, Karavimati Adain Karya, when he came to that pasuk of Memulam B'Tarshish, which is in Shir Shirim, Haviyamar, Yafa Lamdeni Chananya ben Achi Rabbi Yeshua. It's good what I heard from Chananya, Rabbi Yeshua's, the son of Rabbi Yeshua's brother. Ma Yamazeh ben Gal Gadol Legal Legal Gadol Gal and Ktanim, just like in between the sets of waves, right? They have the big wave, and then they have the smaller ones, and then they have the big ones. So there's smaller waves in between. Kach being called Diber v'Diber Diktukev Yisrael Shel Torah. There's also the details in the letters of the Torah are in between each of the big waves. Okay. Amram Tadchuma. Iskashis Kumi Rapinchas. Okay, this gets really complicated with the Gersais. Just read it like the Gra skips a piece. I'll read it through from the text, and we'll get the point, even though it's not going to fit exactly with the words. It goes like this. Asik Rabbi Yehuda v'le'asik Rabbi Meir. There's a problem over here. Certain psukim fit with Rabbi Yehuda, but not with Rabbi Meir. My time with the Rabbi Yehuda, what's the reason? According to Rabbi Yehuda, I did not have the Sefer Torah in the Aron. So it says, well, you take the Sefer Torah and you put it on the side. That's great, but that doesn't fit with Rabbi Meir. So Al Daite, the Gra switches Al Daite, the Rabbi Meir Duamar, who says, Hechanei Sefer Nasan. Now this has to be Rabbi Yehuda. Come in Gluska, so you learn Mechutz, Sefer Torah Nasan B'Seicha. So Rabbi Yehuda held that it was in a separate box on the side. My time with the Reb Meir, what's the reason for Reb Meir? The Ksiv in Asatas a Kaperis ala Aron Milmaila, Vela Aron Titan as Eidas Ashet Eteni Lecha, Al Daite the Reb Meir Dorma in Mukta Mucham Batayra, Ella Vela Aron Titan as Eidas Ashet Eteni Lecha, Vachkach when Asatas a Kaperis ala Aron Milmaila. What he's saying is like this. It says that you put the lid on and you put the testimony inside. Well, you can't do that. You have to first put the testimony inside and then put the lid on. So it says first that what happened was they put the testimony inside and they put the lid on and they put the Sefer Torah in afterwards. But because the Sefer Torah wasn't completed until after. But that would be okay. Yeah. Yeah, we had, I don't remember where it was, but we had when we discussed Ein Ba'arain Rak, Ein Ba'arain Rak Luchais Avanim or something. There was a pasuk in Malachim, I quoted. It was somewhere in Kachim. It was in Krisis or something. And what the Gemara said, there were two ways of reading it. Ein Ba'arain Rak. It's a double negative. It wasn't in the Aron just the Luchais Avanim. Or there wasn't in the Aron just the Luchais Avanim. Yeah. That was it's that how to learn that pasuk over there would fit with these two ways remain. Yeah. Reb Pinchas B'Shem, Reb Shimon ben Lakish, Reb Shimon ben Levi.
Which Rabbi Yehuda is this?
This is Rabbi Yehuda Rabbi Lai. When we're who's arguing with Reb Meir about the 5 verses 6, that's Rabbi Yehuda Rabbi Lai.
Didn't he say there were two Aroinis, Rabbi Yehuda Rabbi Lai?
Oh, that's a good question. Rabbi Yehuda ben Lakish, or maybe Rabbi Yehuda ben Rabbi Lai. There's two gersais there. It says that there were two Aroinis. Yeah. Now that doesn't tell me anything about the Sefer Torah. That would just tell me. The only problem with that would be that we were learning that you have both sets of luchas in this art. I'm asking a good question. If you have both sets of luchas, according to what we're learning here, according to who was it, Rish Lakish, both sets of luchas, according to Rabbi Yehuda, are in one aron. So what's the other aron doing? So if the girsa is Rabbi Yehuda, Rabbi Lai before, then that's a problem. Let's see. Doesn't say. It's either Rabbi Yehuda, Rabbi Lai, or Rabbi Yehuda ben Lakish. If you adjust the girsa here to be, I can't think. It was clear over here that both luchas are in, and that was clear. There is another version of this Gemara that says that the luchas were each 6 by 6, and then I would have to have them one on top of the other, not side by side. I was learning with the Grog that they're 6 by 3, so 3, 3, 3, 3 was 12, and what would fit in. But if you follow the other girsa that they're 6 by 6, then it would have to be 6, 6, and then 6 and 6. Right? It would be two layers. Okay, yeah. Okay. Amarab Tanchuma. So we're holding? Yeah. It's no, we were doing this. I'm holding by Rab Pinchas b'Shem Reb Shimon ben Lakish. Hatayr shenasan HaKadosh Baruch Hu l'Moshe nasan lai eish levana charusa be'eish chayra. A white engraving fire on a black fire. Eish muvlelas. It's a mixed fire. Be'eish chatzuva me'eish, with a fire that's engraved with fire. V'nesuna me'eish, and given by fire. L'ksiv mi'min eish das lamai. It says from his right hand is the eish das, the fiery law lamai to us. That's how they're learning it. The Taklin Charatin has this. Chatzuva be'eish, graved out of fire. He says it's enclosed with the sources of the neshamas Yisrael. Shanashama chelik elakam yimal, shen gimel chalki atayra ki yadua. The different fires. There's a chelik halacha which is ritcha deraisa. Eish levana, he says, is the secrets of the Torah. Razan deraisa. Muchlelas miyesh, muvlelas miyesh. Aha. Yeah. Okay. Halacha base. The Mishnah says, where were these bowing downs? It said that we bowed down 13 times in the base of Mikdash. Where were they? So the Gemara is going to list, the Mishnah is going to list the 13 doors to the base of Mikdash. And by each doorway, there was a bow. Arba batzafan v'abar badarim. There were 4 on the north and 4 on the south. Shalish b'mizrach, ubeis b'mayrav, 3 on the east and 2 on the west. These bowing downs were corresponding to the 13 gates. If I go to the south of the base of Mikdash, and we go to the south of the base of Mikdash, and then I go to the north. Okay, the Kodesh Kodashim is back here, all right? And this is the Shar Nikana. You're working your way through the base of Mikdash. Back here is the Kodesh Kodashim, and the wall of the Azara is here. So this is the Myra. Then I would have would this be the south? That would be the south and the north. So what I would do is I have the 4 gates like this. I'm starting up here from the southwest. This is the Myra. So I start with Shar HaElyon, Shar HaDelek, Shar HaBechiras, and Shar HaMayim. Those are 4 gates. The Gemara asks, why is it called Shar HaMayim, the water gate? Because that gate they would use to bring the water in for the water pouring on libation on Sukkot. The water is going to come out from here, trickle out in the future waters, the healing waters, that all the trees that grow, all the leaves are going to be for healing. The prophecy that's in Yechezkel, as we'll see today. I hope. We didn't explain what the Shara Elyon was used for. We didn't say what the Shara Delik was used for. The commentaries say they would bring the wood in through there. Shara Bechiris was probably, if a Bechar was coming in, they would use that gate. Now we go to the other side. We're going to Lumasam Batzapin on the north, Smuchim B'Mayrav close to the west, the northwest. Yeah, they went down this way from Mayrav. Now they're going to the north. The Mishnah. The Mishnah. Right. Yeah. I guess. I don't know if it means 13 Ishtachavayas. That means that you had to walk around and bow all 13 times, or there were 13 places where you were supposed to bow, and if you happened to walk through the whole thing, then you would. Now, there was in the morning where they had to check the Beis Hamikdash, so they would have to walk around the whole place. The people that were checking. Okay, so it starts over here with Shar Yechanya. And Gemara is going to say that's where he was taken out from when Nebuchadnezzar took him to Babylon. Shara Karban, Shara Nashim, and Shara Shir. Because that's the exit that Yechanya took when they took him out. Sheba Mizrach Shar Nikanar, on the east that's down here, was the Shar Nikanar, the Nikanar gates. That's with the famous story. The copper doors. There were three smaller doors that were there on the side. Two smaller doors, which makes a total of three. Two smaller doors, one to the right, one to the left of the Shar Nikanar. Two doors up here, but they didn't have names. How do you discuss them? I don't know. That was the H&MS joke. That's right. Okay, Masnisana B'Yesi Ben Yoichanani. Damer Keneged Yud Gimel Sharif. Our Mishnah has to fit with Abba Yesi Ben Yoichanan or Ben Chanan. That says that there were 13 gates. Baram Kirabanan Shiva Sharim Hayubazara. Problem is that there's another opinion that says there were only 7 gates. How do you have 13 Ishtachavayas with only 7 gates? How do you divide that up? So according to the Rabbanon, where were the bowing downs? It says here the Tanin and Taman, because it says over there, Yud Gimel Pratzas by Shaparta Malchi Yavan B'Chasav V'Godr B'nei Chashmonai. The Greeks, when they came into the temple, they breached. There was a lattice that went around the Beis Hamikdash, and that got broken in 13 places. And Chashmonai came back and they fixed it up. Now, each of those places that they fixed, they instituted that you bow down over there to thank God for getting rid of the Greeks from the temple. It says in the pasuk, on that day, living water will come out of Yerushalayim. Tani was taught, when it came out, originally, it was just a little trickle, the size of the antenna of a snail. But from the pareichas, as it's coming out of the Kodesh HaKadoshim, from the pareichas until the Mizbeach Hazav, Kikarni Chagavim, the trickle already widened, and now it's the size of the antennas of grasshoppers. Mizbeach Hazav ad Azaras, Mizbeach Hazav till the Azara, it's Kechut Shel Shesi. It's wider. It's like the thickness of the. I'm sorry. Oh. Uh-huh. I was switching to strings of a loom. Minazar said Miftan Abayis Kechut Shel Erev. Now it's getting thicker. I guess we needed a natural size that we can compare it to. Mikan ve'elach kemapi apach. After that, it's like the mouth of a jug. Ksiv inemayim epachim min akosif hayamanis b'tzeis ve'ish kadim V'kav biyodei v'yimadid elef b'ama v'yivireni b'mayim me'yafasim. It says, and the water was mafachim, trickling, or the size of a jug, whatever the word means, from the right shoulder. I guess he turns right. When the man comes out to the east, he has a stick in his hand, or a string in his hand, that could be. And he measures 1,000 amas, and he passes me over the water, me'afasim. What is me'afasim? Ad kasula. That means that at this point, the water was up to his ankles. Ad berechia. Now the water is already another 1,000 amas. The water is up to his knees. Now it's up to his loins. Ad masnaya. And he gave me another 1,000, and the stream was so big that you can't pass it. Even the great ships can't get over it. My taima, what's the reason? This is the water that started off as a trickle out of the Kodesh HaKadoshim. It's a prophecy, which is in Zechariah and Yecheskel. This is in the future is going to be. I don't know if it's about this. Oh, similar. So I don't know. I don't know. It's Vitzi Adir Le'Yavreno. The great ships can't pass it. Neima Kigo Mayim Meishachu. Because the water's so great, the waters of Shachu. Mal Meishachu Milashut. You can't swim in it or float in it. Amar Rav Chuna Ba'asrin Kar L'Shaita Shchuna. Rav Chuna says in our place, swimming is called Shchuna. Paris Yadav, Bekir by Kashifer Shasheicha Lishches, spreads out his hands into it as a Sheicha would spread out Lishches. Mal Lishches, what does that mean? Rabbi Yossi bar Rabbi Bon Mayan de Mismalalim Ba'alma. This is water that's discussed in the world. I guess people discuss the tide. How was the water? I went to Miami. Oh, how was the ocean? I'm not sure exactly what it's saying more than swimming. Saying that the water that you can't go into. On that day, it says in Zechariah, there'll be a spring to the house of David and the people of Yerushalayim for Chatas, that means for the Paraduma, and for Nida. Reb Shmuel bar Nachman b'shem Reb Yonis and mi beis David Yerushalayim kshem lenida lechatas mekan velach meiteruvas. It's going to mix with other waters. So it's only going to be kosher for Nida and Chatas in Yerushalayim. After that, it's only going to be kosher for Nida, but not for Chatas. Because for the Chatas, for the Paraduma, it needs to be the pure spring water. Amar Rabbi Meir, Amar Rabbi Lazar, based David by Yerushalayim kshem Nida ula Chatas, mikan velach make a tafris. Only in Yerushalayim it's going to be kosher for a nida. Afterwards, it's going to be make a tafris. Tafris means it's going down a slope, and the water is not considered attached to the water above it. Okay. It says, this water is going to go out to the eastern Galilee. Zehu Shel Samchu. This is the sea of Yam Shel Samchu. In the Steinsaltz, they said this is the Hula River, Hula Lake. V'yardu al Arava, and it's going to go down to the plain. Zo Yam Shel Tveria. This is the Sea of Tveria, the Galilee, the Sea of the Galilee. Kineret. Bo Yamim Hayama. It's going to come to the sea. Zo Yama Melach. It's going to trickle down. Yeah, I don't know where it's coming from. It's going to go into the Dead Sea. Elayamim Hamutzaim, to they transit the water that's going out, of the putrid water. Zayama Gadol. Why is it called the water that's going out? This water went out of its location twice. Echad b'darenesh v'echad b'daraflaga. It overtook the land once in the Darenesh, when people worshiping idols, and Daraflaga, the generation of the dispersion. Reb Lezer b'Shim Reb Chanina b'Rishayna Yatzad Calabria. Tsunami. Yeah. The first time it went until Calabria. That means it overtook the Italy, the boot. And the Bishni Yatzad Kipe Barbaria went somewhere in Barbaria. Oh, this is an actual place? Yeah. Could be somewhere in Spain. Rab Acha b'Shem Rab Chanina b'Rishon Yatzad Kipe Barbaria b'Shni Yatzad Aku b'Ad Yafu. The first time we went until the edges of Barbaria, and the second time we went until Akko in Yafu. Ad po Sava v'Lei Savai. It says until here it comes and it doesn't come further. Ad Akko. When it says Ad Pai, it's sort of like saying Ad Kai. And Ad Kai is Akko. Now it says, and it doesn't go further. Penyashis begoin galecha, lest it go with its strength, the waves. Ad yafo, when it says Payashis. Ad yafo, the po is yafo. Ashis goin galecha, it's going to go until yafo. Okay, nicha yama rabba b'yama de milcha b'shvil miskan. We understand why the water is going in to the Great Sea, the Mediterranean, and the Dead Sea, because it wants to sweeten the waters. It's going to sweeten the waters. But Yama de Tver, Yama de Samcho, but the Kinneret and the Hula River, what's it doing there? That's fresh water. The rabbis to Gassam, that it's coming to do to increase the fish. The Ksiv Bey Lamina Tia de Gassam, Lamina Minim Tia de Gassam. It says that there's going to be many types of fish. Tani, Amr Reb Shimon ben Gamliel Ma'aseh Shalach L'Tzidin. Shimon ben Gamliel says one time I went to Tzidin. They brought me 300 different types of fish in one pot. The water will be healing as it's going out, and it's going to stretch out, and it won't heal to the salt it's given. Come on, asks 1 second. It's going to be healing waters. And then it says it's not going to be healing. It says no. It says that the water is going to go out to the place of not heal, which is called not healing, but it doesn't mean that it's not going to heal. That's the name of a place. It says the stream will go out over its edges. On its edges will be all the fruit trees that the leaves won't wither and the fruits won't fall off. They'll give fruit in their months. Tani Amar Rabbi Yehuda Lefisha Ilamazet for Eisel Shisha Chadashim Yil Neisel Shnei Masar Chaydesh. In this world, 6 months for grain, 12 months for fruit. In the future, 1 month for grain. You plant it, you get it. It's going to grow in a month, and the tree will give out in 2 months. There goes all of that overpopulation problem. Was it Machiavelli? Okay. My time of the Chadash of Yibaka, but it seems like it's going to be. What does it mean? And it's going to give out in its months. Amar Rabbi Yossi Lefi Shabaylam Azat Tvois L'Shisha Chadashim V'Ila Nice Liyad Beis Chaydesh Avalas Lav Tvois L'Tes Vav Yaim V'Il Nice L'Chaydesh Echad. It's going to give out every month, and the grain is going to be every 15 days. What happened over there was that there was no rain. It rained on the first of the month of first of Nisan. They went. There was a drought. They planted, and it was already sprouted enough, and they were able to harvest it in time for the Aimer, which is on the 16th. My time of Bnei Gilu v'Simcha b'Hashem Alekechem K'Nasam Lachem Asamayra L'Tzedakah V'Yer Lachem Geshem Mayra Malkish Barishan. Okay, that was the pasuk in Yoel that says that they were able to do that. But the first rain and the second rain on the first of the month of Nisan. What does Rabbi Yossi do that says that it's going to give out every month? It sounds like it's going to give out the Chadashav every 2 months. It says Yivaka b'chol chaydesh v'chaydesh b'chol chaydesh v'chaydesh yeh mevaka. Doesn't mean every 2 months. It means each of its month it's going to give fruits. Its leaves will be healing. So let me stop, so everyone can go down. We'll learn about Leila Shuf afterwards. Okay.
Thank you.